crystal dome towered on the moon's surface, transparent and breathtaking. Through it, Earth hung in the sky like a pale blue dream. Inside, under the glittering dome, hundreds of graduates sat in rows, uniforms white, posture perfect, eyes forward. At the podium stood Director Sarah Noble, her presence calm and commanding. 15 years ago, she began, her voice carrying with practiced authority, humanity received the greatest gift in our species' history, contact with civilizations beyond our world. Today, you graduates represent our response to that gift. You are not just diplomats, scientists, or explorers. You are humanity's voice among the stars. Near the front, a young man with striking red hair and sharp green eyes listened intently. Kieran Blake, focused, unmoving, every word landed with purpose. This year's valedictorian, Director Noble continued, graduating first in xenodiplomacy with a minor in xenobiology, has shown the qualities we most need in our emissaries: curiosity, dedication, and a belief in peaceful coexistence. Kieran Blake, please step forward. Applause erupted. Kieran rose and walked with quiet confidence. He accepted a crystalline diploma and the coveted silver pin of the Terran Diplomatic Corps. When I was 10, he said at the microphone, I watched the announcement of first contact from my bedroom window in Dublin. I saw those ships in our sky and I knew everything had changed. Not just for Earth, but for me. Today, we take our first steps toward a future our ancestors only dreamed of. The crowd roared. As Kieran stepped down, his gaze lingered on the Earth above, a mix of awe and resolve in his eyes. Later that evening, the director's office glowed with soft light and rotating holographic star charts. Director Noble examined a file marked, Classified Terran Delegation Assignment. Your academic record is excellent, Kieran, she said, seated across from him. But that's not why I'm recommending you for immediate placement. Then why, Director? He asked, leaning in. Because 15 years ago, when that Luminarian scout ship arrived, everything shifted. We learned we weren't alone. But more importantly, we learned we had something unique to offer. She activated a hologram. A massive, multi-tiered space station appeared, elegant and alive with motion. The Galactic Council has 12 member species. We're the newest. Some call us the most unpredictable. But your psychological profile shows a rare blend, empathy and strategic thinking. That combination is exactly what we need. What's the assignment? Kieran asked. Third secretary to the Terran delegation, normally reserved for someone with 5 years of service. But Ambassador Rodriguez requested someone fresh, someone not yet molded by institutional blind spots. Kieran's eyes widened. When do I leave? Tomorrow, Noble replied, smiling. Pack light, there are replicators, and Kieran, don't try to save the galaxy on your first day. The Terran spaceport buzzed with organized chaos. Ships of every configuration docked, launched, and shimmered in and out of jump transit. Before the sleek vessel known as TDF Horizon, Kieran stood with a single bag over his shoulder. A man with a weathered face and sharp eyes approached. Blake, he said, Commander Reeves, ready for your first trip off-world. As ready as anyone can be, I suppose, Kieran replied. Reeves chuckled. That's what they all say. Come on, I'll show you around. Fair warning, artificial gravity takes getting used to. And jump drives, they cause motion sickness that transcends known physics. They entered the ship. The interior was a fusion of Earth-born design and alien elegance. This beauty was built using shared Luminarian and Ambastoma tech, Reeves explained. Faster than anything we had before contact. Still slower than most council ships, though. We're the new kids out here, don't forget that. Stars streaked by in surreal lines as the horizon cruised in FTL. Kieran stared out through the observation deck, silent. Never gets old, Reeves said, joining him. 3 years running this route and it still makes me feel like a kid. Director Noble said you've met most of the council species, Kieran said. What should I expect? Well, Reeves said, leaning on the rail, the Corvathan? Imagine a bird crossed with a dragon, all honor and military codes. but get a few drinks in them and they'll tell jokes that make a Terran comedian blush. He laughed. The Ambystoma are slow, philosophers. You ask them what they want for lunch and you'll get an answer next week. The Luminarians, energy beings. Some conversations involve spatial overlap. It's different. Kieran nodded, absorbing every word. But the key, Reeves added. Be yourself. They're still figuring us out, too. Authenticity goes a long way in diplomacy. Out of jump, the council station came into view. Massive, beautiful, alive. A city in space. Kieran stood speechless. It's something, isn't it? Reeves said. 5 founding species built this. Each level calibrated for different biology and gravity. We're docking at level 7, Earth normal. Customs was unlike anything Kieran had seen. Scanners pulsed in alien wavelengths. A holographic officer processed his credentials. Welcome to Nexus Station, 3rd Secretary Blake, it said. Proceed to Terran Diplomatic Section for orientation and neurochip installation. Neurochip, Kieran asked. Translator, Reeves explained. Luminarian tech, painless. You'll be speaking Corvathan in 10 minutes. The orientation room was warm and familiar, wood tones, soft light, earth plants. Dr. Zyra Thorne looked up from her tablet, poised and self-assured. 3rd Secretary Blake, she asked. I'm Dr. Zyra Thorne. I'll be handling your chip installation and briefing. Kieran shook her hand. Pleasure to meet you. As he sat in the chair, she worked with quiet precision. How long have you been interested in xenobiology? She asked, brushing his neck lightly. Since first contact. My senior thesis was on evolutionary convergences between Earth and the Luminarian homeworld. I read that thesis, she said, raising an eyebrow. Your section on crystalline neural networks, inspired. Most don't grasp that Luminarians don't use technology, they are their technology. You read it. All incoming staff research is reviewed, she said quickly. Professional interest, that's all. The moment hung, then the machine beeped. All done, try Corvathan, she said. Kieran closed his eyes. I am honored to make your acquaintance, he said, clicks and growls spilling from his mouth, fluid and alien. He blinked. That felt natural. Perfect installation, Thorne replied with a smile. Come meet the rest of the team. The main office of the Terran section buzzed with activity. Holographic interfaces displayed worlds, languages, species. A commanding woman approached. Blake, she said. I'm Ambassador Maria Rodriguez. Welcome to the deep end. How was the trip? Enlightening, ma'am. Good, because we've got a council session in 2 hours and dinner with the Corvathan delegation tonight. You're observing both. Any customs I should know? Never turn your back on a Corvathan, Rodriguez said. It's an insult. Always meet their eyes even if it's intimidating, and don't joke about their height, ever. The Galactic Council chamber was awe-inspiring. Seats molded for species of all shapes and sizes. Kieran sat in the human gallery, absorbing every detail. A shimmering being of light, the Luminarian speaker, called the session to order. Honored delegates, it said, voice like harmonious chimes. We address petition CR 7741, preliminary survey results from World Kepler 442b. A hologram showed a vibrant planet swirling with life. The Ambystoma elder spoke, slow and deep. Signs of sentient development. The species Arani sapiens demonstrate tool use and complex behavior. General Vex Ironskill of the Corvathan stood, towering, feathered, regal. Strategic resources confirmed, he declared. Defensible terrain, agricultural viability. Then came the unexpected. The Terran Federation has shown adaptability, said the Ambystoma elder. Perhaps they should lead this contact. Gasps, whispers. Rodriguez stood. We'd be honored, though we acknowledge our inexperience. The Luminarian speaker considered. A joint mission, then, guided by Terrans, supported by experienced delegates. Vex paused, then nodded. The Corvathan caste accepts, will provide military support. Harmony of Tides, the Ambystoma representative, added, and we offer cultural and biological counsel. Kieran's heart raced. This was it. The Corvathan suite was built for warriors. High ceilings, perches, and battle banners. General Vex studied Kieran. Your newest delegate is young. Rodriguez answered smoothly. Youth brings fresh eyes, General. In our culture, one proves worth through action. Kieran met his gaze. Among humans, wisdom can come from any source. I may be young, but I'm ready to learn, especially from those with your experience. Vex's feathers ruffled slightly, a reaction, though hard to read. A female Corvathan entered, silver-streaked feathers gleaming. Captain Corvani's, Vex said. She'll serve as our liaison on the Kepler mission. She turned to Kieran. You are the xenobiologist. Xenodiplomat, he replied. Biology minor. Her feathers shimmered slightly. A warrior scholar, respected among my people. Vex watched, interested. Captain Corvani's has led 17 first contacts, he said. She will be instructive, if you can keep up. Kieran smiled. I'm looking forward to it. The briefing chamber buzzed with quiet energy. Holographic displays hovered in midair, projecting alien terrain and environmental readouts. Around the circular table sat Kieran, Ambassador Rodriguez, Dr. Thorne, Captain Corvani's, General Vex, and the enigmatic Aquarian engineer, Kaya Reefborn, her biosuit pulsing faintly with bioluminescence. The Luminarian Survey Ship Prism of Understanding will transport our joint team, Kaya said. I've modified its biological systems to allow long-term planetary observation, without detection. What do we know about the indigenous species biology? Thorne asked. Kaya gestured, and a shimmering hologram came to life, spider-like beings weaving vast structures in the forest canopy. They are arachnid-based, 8 limbs, highly adaptive. Their tool use is advanced, and their social structures even more so. Captain Corvani's leaned forward. Settlements in forest canopies, multi-layered with escape paths on all sides. Tactical advantage if it comes to that. What are our protocols for first contact? General Vex asked. Observe only, said Rodriguez. Do not engage unless required. Kieran stared at the holograms, captivated. They don't build alone. No single figure directs the process. They think communally. Kaya turned to him. Impressive, land dweller. Most humans miss aquatic thought patterns. Thorne smiled. Kieran sees what others don't, always has. Corvani's raised a brow. You've worked together before. No, Kieran replied, glancing at Thorne. We met yesterday. Corvani's gave a low hum of interest. Among Corvathan, that level of protectiveness would suggest a mating bond. Kieran's eyes widened. Thorne shifted slightly. When do we leave? Vex asked. Rodriguez tapped her console. The prism of understanding is ready. 6 weeks of observation. Contact if warranted. The vessel was unlike anything human-made. Crystalline structures fused with living metal. It shimmered as if part dream, part deep-sea creature. Inside, the environment shifted subtly to accommodate each being. Air thickened or thinned. The light bent to soothe different visual ranges. A musical chime echoed, and Lieutenant Lyra Voss stepped forward. Welcome aboard the Prism. I am Lieutenant Lyra Voss, Navigation and Communications. Kieran stared, transfixed. Voss tilted her head. You wonder what it's like to exist as partial energy, she said. Imagine if your thoughts reshaped your surroundings and your emotions lit the room. That is what it means to be luminarian. May I take readings? Thorne asked. Strictly for health baselines. You measure fixed states. We exist in flux, but your caution is endearing. From the far end, Captain Corvani's called out. 10 minutes to departure. Luminarian vessels do not accelerate gently. All non-luminarian organics, secure yourselves. General Vex entered last. He approached Kieran. Are you prepared, youngling? First contact can quickly become first conflict. Kieran blinked. Combat, I was told this was a diplomatic mission. Captain Corvani's, all scales and stoicism, adjusted the rifle slung across his chest. "All first contact carries risks," he said. "The indigenous species may respond with fear or aggression." General Vex tilted his head, feathers shifting slightly in what might have been amusement or judgment. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "this mission requires more seasoned personnel." Kieran's spine straightened. His pulse quickened, but he kept his voice steady. "With all due respect, General, even you were inexperienced once. You had a first mission, too." A silence fell. Vex's feathers visibly bristled, and several nearby Corvathan soldiers stiffened, prepared for some kind of reprimand. But instead, the general let out a sharp, grating laugh that echoed off the chamber walls. "True words, youngling," he said, beak clicking with approval. "Very well, show us what human courage looks like when it's tested." Stars streaked past the ship in impossible arcs, stretching into shimmering lines that defied the laws of space and time. Through the transparent walls of the common area, the galaxy unfolded in radiant silence. Within, the diverse crew members of the diplomatic vessel moved through their routines, each adapting to hyperspace in their own way. Dr. Thorne sat near Kieran, tablet in hand, her brow furrowed in deep concentration. "I've been reviewing the biological data on the indigenous species," she said, not looking up. "Their neural structures suggest intelligence comparable to early human civilization." Kieran leaned in. "What about their social development?" "That's where it gets interesting," Thorne replied. "They've developed mathematics and basic engineering without agriculture. They're forest-dwelling hunters, but they build permanent structures." A shimmer of bioluminescence announced Engineer Kaya's arrival. Her biosuit pulsed with soft blue and violet light as she joined the conversation. "Among my people," she said, "we never developed land-based agriculture either. The ocean gave us everything we needed. Intelligence and civilization, these can evolve along many different paths." From nearby, Lieutenant Voss's translucent form flickered into view. Her presence hummed faintly as she spoke. "The Luminarians evolved in crystalline cave systems. We learned technology by resonating with natural crystal formations. Each species finds its own way to the stars." Captain Corvani's, overhearing from across the room, strode over. His scaled form was imposing, and the tactical display embedded in his gauntlet glowed softly. "The Corvathan were born among high mountain peaks," he said. "We learned to fly before we learned to farm. In the mountains, combat was survival." Kieran nodded thoughtfully. "So each species brings its own survival strategy to the council." From his elevated perch, General Vex observed the gathering with calculating eyes. His feathers rustled as he added, "Which is why council missions succeed, youngling. No single approach works for every situation." Dr. Thorne glanced at Kieran. Their eyes met, and in that shared look they both understood they were witnessing something extraordinary. A convergence of experience, a chorus of evolution, each voice adding to a symphony of interstellar cooperation. Moments later, the stars outside bent sharply and vanished. The ship emerged from hyperspace on the edge of a new solar system. Ahead, a blue-green world rotated slowly, its cloud patterns swirling in elegant spirals. It looked, in many ways, like Earth. Lieutenant Voss brightened, her energy field intensifying. "Preliminary scans confirm the survey data. 60% water coverage, oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere. Biodiversity consistent with a thriving ecosystem." Kaya's suit deepened to a rich ocean blue. "The water composition is fascinating, high mineral content, complex organic compounds. This planet has nurtured life for millions of years." Captain Corvani's brought up the tactical holograms. "Electromagnetic signatures suggest the indigenous species has developed metallurgy and basic electrical systems. Pre-industrial, but sophisticated." "Population?" General Vex asked without turning his gaze from the planet. Dr. Thorne scrolled through the latest data. "Roughly 2 million, spread across 12 major settlements. They prefer forest regions with water access." Kieran stood silently, watching the planet's surface rotate into view. It's beautiful. They're settlement patterns, they're part of the ecosystem, not separate from it. Voss's form pulsed gently. A sustainable approach. The Luminarians find this aesthetically pleasing. The ship entered a silent orbit, maintaining distance while collecting detailed scans. The crew busied themselves with observation protocols. Kaya sat at a console that appeared to grow around her hands, vines of tech responding to her touch. I'm detecting complex acoustic signals between settlements, she said. They're communicating across long distances without electronics. Remarkable. Captain Corvani's frowned at a display. Their defense structures show strategy, overlapping fields of observation, multiple fallback points. They're coordinated, even without visible command systems. Dr. Thorne turned to Kieran, excitement in his eyes. Look at this. Their tool-making shows abstract reasoning and multi-step planning. They're making tools to make other tools. General Vex approached silently. What do you observe, youngling? Kieran pointed at the displays. They're not just intelligent, they're wise. Their architecture blends with the forest. They don't strip it away, they sustain it. Vex's feathers ruffled slightly. A useful observation. Intelligence without wisdom leads to extinction. Many species fail that test. Suddenly, Voss materialized near the central console. Alert! Unusual activity in the northern settlement cluster. The display zoomed in. A massive storm system was building, fast. Storm patterns indicate a Category 6 equivalent, Kaya said urgently. The largest settlement is directly in its path. Their structures won't survive. Thorne's voice was low. Population. Voss answered, 150,000. A hush fell over the room as they watched the storm churn toward the settlement. Orders, sir, Captain Corvani's asked. General Vex hesitated. Council protocols forbid intervention in natural disasters for per-contact species. Kieran stood up abruptly. Protocol doesn't account for genocide by weather. A chime from the comms signaled a transmission. Ambassador Rodriguez's voice came through, calm but firm. We're monitoring from the diplomatic suite. What are our options? Kaya was already working, beginning weather modification now. Outside the ship, unseen forces began to stir the atmosphere. The storm's structure buckled. Lightning arced upward and dissipated. Winds slowed. Rain still fell, but the destructive system fractured and weakened. Kaya's biosuit glowed brighter. It's working. The storm is breaking apart. No structural damage expected. Voss's energy dimmed slightly. We're being scanned. The indigenous species, using some kind of directed energy. Thorne frowned. Scanned with what? Corvani's eyes flicked to his displays. It's rudimentary but precise. They've detected our influence on the storm. On the surface, beings emerged from the shelters, tall, spindly figures with glinting eyes and iridescent limbs. Instruments in hand, they studied the sky. They weren't panicking. They're investigating, Vex said quietly. Kieran leaned in. They're scientists. Look, taking measurements, recording patterns. They know something intervened. Kaya's voice held a note of awe. They're trying to communicate. Coordinated light signals from multiple settlements, mathematical patterns. The crew stared at the geometric shapes of light flickering from the forests below. Triangles, spirals, prime number sequences, all moving in concert. Voss translated as data streamed in. Prime numbers, geometric progressions, universal constants. They're demonstrating abstract math to prove intelligence. Dr. Thorne was almost breathless. They're initiating first contact from their end. General Vex turned to Kieran. You've forced contact. Now what? Kieran looked around at the diverse crew, each one shaped by a different world, a different truth. He stepped forward. We answer them in kind. Intelligence recognizes intelligence. Voss initiated the ship's harmonic light array. Geometric responses blinked into view, rising from the vessel like a language built from stars. The planet responded instantly. New patterns bloomed across the settlements, more complex, more joyful. Dr. Thorne watched the readings with growing wonder. They're not afraid, they're eager. Kaya nodded, her suit rippling with a pleased shimmer. They're asking about the storm. They want to understand our technology. Corvanis's voice was low and impressed. They've coordinated a response across 12 settlements, flawless unity. General Vex spoke softly, almost to himself. They show intelligence, adaptability, and cohesion, valuable traits. Kieran turned to Voss. Can we establish audio communication? Attempting harmonic resonance translation, she said, adjusting the crystalline controls. A moment later, a series of musical tones filled the ship, complex, layered, beautiful. A voice emerged through the universal translator. Greetings, sky travelers. We are the Arani Collective. We thank you for your gift of storm calming. The crew exchanged amazed glances. Kieran nodded to Voss. Can you translate our response? Speak naturally. I'll handle the rest. Kieran took a breath. Greetings, Arani Collective. We are representatives of the Galactic Council, a community of species that explores the stars together. We saw your danger. We could not look away. There was a pause, then the voice returned. The Galactic Council. There are others like you. Dr. Thorne whispered. That's the question of a species ready for contact. The ship's common area had been transformed into a makeshift communication hub. Screens, data projectors, and translation relays flickered softly as the crew engaged in an extended dialogue with the Arani, the newly contacted spider-like species. The Arani leader spoke first, their voice resonating through harmonic translation. How many species walk among the stars? General Vex stepped forward with quiet authority. 12 species currently hold council membership, representing dozens of worlds. Each brought unique gifts to the collective knowledge. And what would be required of us? The Arani leader asked. Engineer Kaya's biosuit glowed with soft light. Nothing more than what you already display: intelligence, cooperation, and respect for life. Captain Corvanis added, the Council believes in strength through diversity. Your approach to sustainable civilization would be highly valued. The conversation carried on for hours, building bridges of trust. Dr. Thorne leaned close to Kieran and whispered, they're remarkable. Their questions show they understand the implications of galactic contact. Kieran nodded, impressed. They're not asking about weapons or technology. They're asking about responsibility. Lieutenant Voss materialized nearby, her energy form stabilizing just enough to appear less ethereal. The Arani leadership has requested a face-to-face meeting. They wish to send a delegation to our ship. General Vex turned to Kieran. Youngling, this was your initiative. How do you counsel we proceed? After a moment of thoughtful silence, Kieran replied, we invite them aboard. If they're to join the galactic community, they should see what that community looks like. The ship's docking bay was prepared with custom environmental protocols, and soon, 3 Arani beings boarded. They moved with an elegant grace, their metallic exoskeletons shimmering in iridescent patterns. Their leader, known as Weaver of Harmonies, addressed the crew through harmonic translation. We greet you, star travelers. I am Weaver of Harmonies, selected to speak for our collective. The crew stood in formal welcome. Kieran stepped forward. Welcome aboard. I'm 3rd Secretary Kieran Blake of the Terran Federation. Weaver of Harmonies examined him with complex eyes. You are the one who chose to calm our storm. The decision was collective, Kieran answered. But yes, I advocated for intervention. Harmonic tones resonated, tones of approval. Among our people, one who protects strangers without obligation is considered wise beyond their seasons. General Vex stepped forward, his feathered form drawing the Arani's attention. I am General Vex Ironskill of the Corvathan military caste. We have observed your defensive strategies. They show considerable tactical intelligence. The Sky Warrior honors us, Weaver of Harmonies replied. Your people fly among the clouds as we move through forest canopies. We understand the wisdom of high places. Captain Corvani's approached. Your coordination across settlements is impressive. How do you maintain such unity? What you call distance, said Weaver of Harmonies. We call opportunity for harmony. Each settlement contributes its voice to the greater song. Dr. Thorne stepped forward. Would you allow a basic medical scan for safety protocols? The harmonics shifted into amusement. The healer wishes to understand our forms. This shows wisdom. To help, one must first understand. Engineer Kaya's biosuit rippled in soft welcome. Your integration with your environment is beautiful. My people relate similarly to ocean ecosystems. Weaver of Harmonies studied her suit. You carry living technology, so do we. Tools must be partners, not possessions. Lieutenant Voss materialized more clearly, her presence steadier than before. Your harmonic communication resonates with our consciousness. Your patterns are aesthetically pleasing. The common area was later restructured to accommodate Arani physiology. Weaver of Harmonies and the others moved gracefully through the multi-species space, absorbing knowledge with awe and curiosity. Tell us of this council, they asked. What binds such different life forms together? Ambassador Rodriguez, appearing via hologram, replied, common goals, mutual benefit, and shared values. Intelligence and consciousness deserve respect, no matter their form. And disagreements, asked the Arani. Frequently and passionately, General Vex answered with honesty. But diversity of thought leads to stronger solutions. One of the Arani companions approached Lieutenant Voss with intense curiosity. How does one exist partially as energy? Our physics say this is impossible. Voss answered with satisfaction. Your physics are accurate for fixed matter, but consciousness can exist in quantum states, both wave and particle. Dr. Thorne shared her scans with Kieran and Weaver of Harmonies. Your neural architecture is fascinating, distributed thought across multiple nodes. You think with one node only, asked Weaver of Harmonies. How do you survive if it fails? Kieran laughed. We don't, one of our design flaws. Harmonic laughter chimed like wind through crystal trees. Captain Corvani's leaned forward. Your approach to problem-solving could revolutionize military doctrine. General Vex agreed. You demonstrate both independence and coordination, essential qualities for alliance. Suddenly, alarms blared. Lieutenant Voss flickered with urgency. Proximity warning. Unknown vessel approaching at speed. Captain Corvani's moved swiftly to tactical systems. Unknown configuration. They're jamming communications. A blast rocked the ship. General Vex's wings spread defensively. Battle stations, protect our guests. Engineer Kaya's biosuit shimmered with combat patterns. They're breaching bioshields. Hostile confirmed. Despite the chaos, the Arani remained calm. We offer aid, said Weaver of Harmonies. Our sensor weaving can pierce most cloaking systems. Dr. Thorne leaned to Kieran. They want to help us. You'd risk yourselves for strangers, Kieran asked them. You risked yourselves for us first. Harmony must be balanced. Another blast struck. The ship is of unknown design, Voss reported. It does not match any council or rogue patterns. We're outgunned, Corvani's growled. This isn't a warship. I can enhance defense, said Kaya, but I need time. Weaver of Harmonies offered again. May we lend our sensor weaving to your systems? General Vex nodded after a moment. Do it. As the Arani interfaced with the ship's controls, sensor data became far more precise. The hostile vessel carries life signs, one said, but they are wrong. How so? Asked Dr. Thorne. They are enhanced, modified, but also damaged. Weapons fire erupted from the hostile ship, a hideous patchwork of stolen technologies. The prism of understanding shuddered under the assault. Voss counterattacked with quantum beams. Their tactics are chaotic, untrained. Pirates, muttered Vex, or slavers. Weaver of Harmonies added grimly. There are prisoners aboard, council species forced to operate systems. We can't destroy them, Kieran realized. There are innocents inside. I can disable weapons without harming life support, said Kaya, but I need targeting data. We'll provide it, the Arani replied. Working in harmony, the crew turned the tide of battle. The enemy ship, now disarmed, attempted a desperate ramming maneuver. They know our tactics, Corvanis noted. Someone familiar with Luminarian ships is on board. Voss analyzed and reported. There are 17 prisoners in the lower decks. We can attempt a rescue. General Vex made a decision. Small team, precision strike. I'll lead, Corvanis volunteered. I'm coming too, said Kieran. You have no combat training, Vex objected. But I do have diplomatic training. Someone needs to coordinate if the prisoners are from multiple species. Weaver of Harmonies stepped forward. We request to join this rescue harmony. Our abilities will aid you. Kaya and Voss quickly volunteered as well. A shuttle launched, carrying Corvanis, Kieran, Voss, and Weaver of Harmonies into the jaws of the unknown. Inside the hostile ship, darkness, damage, and desperation loomed. They encountered the first of the enemy, a hybrid creature snarling in multiple languages. It attacked. Corvanis engaged with fierce precision while the others moved forward. Weaver of Harmonies located the prisoners. 17 beings beyond this bulkhead. Voss interfaced with the door, bypassing primitive locks. Inside, they found a holding chamber filled with abused beings from many worlds. We're here to rescue you, Kieran said, voice amplified through his translator chip. A weak Corvathan prisoner stepped forward. Council forces, we thought we were forgotten. Weaver of Harmonies responded. We are here to restore you to the harmony of freedom. As they evacuated the rescued, disturbing truths emerged. The ship's records told a story of months of abductions, experiments, and mutilations. There are more prisoners, one whispered, taken deeper inside. The team hesitated. I'll stay, Voss offered. I can disable their systems and locate others. That's too dangerous, Kieran warned. Then it's worth doing, Voss replied, glowing with unwavering purpose. With a reluctant nod, Corvanis ordered the shuttle back. Voss disappeared deeper into the ship. Back aboard the Prism, 17 rescued beings were stabilized. Voss returned, her form dimmed but stable. 4 more recovered, lab destroyed, she reported faintly. General Vex approached Kieran as the crew regrouped. You risked much, youngling. Why? It was the right thing to do, Kieran said simply. Vex nodded slowly. Perhaps we underestimated your kind. The Arani, watching it all, offered their final words of commitment. We have seen the harmony. We wish to join it. A formal ceremony followed. Holograms, declarations, and mutual pledges. The Arani were welcomed into the galactic fold. Later, in the quiet of his quarters, Kieran finished his mission report. He looked out at the stars, reflecting on what had begun as a simple diplomatic mission and evolved into something far more complex and far more meaningful. A message came in, General Vex. Dinner, youngling. I have an offer for your future. Kieran smiled. 3 days ago, he'd been a student. Now, he was something more. And this was only the beginning.